Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Grumpy Dogs podcast. I've titled today's episode, Do Behavior Medications Work for Fearful and Aggressive Dogs? This is a question I get asked all the time, and it's an important one. So let's get into it. Are you struggling with a dog that is anxious or aggressive? You're at the right place because in this podcast series, we educate dog owners, veterinary practices, and dog trainers on how to overcome dog fear and aggression using humane methods. My name is Scott Schaefer, and it's my mission to help you better understand your dog's behavior. Before we get started, I just want to mention that you can watch the full video version of this episode on YouTube. I provided a link in the episode notes that takes you directly to the video at the Grumpy Dogs channel. You can also search for the Grumpy Dogs channel on YouTube. All right, let's get back to the topic. Can behavior medications help your dog with their fear and aggression? Another question is, can a dog owner use these medications in place of behavior modification exercises? Before I go any further, it's important for me to note to you that the vast majority of canine behavior issues do not require medication. As some proof of that, my practice is exclusively focused on dogs with significant and serious behavior issues, and only a small percentage of these dogs are taking behavioral medication. The behavior medications that are used for dogs when we use them normally fall into what's called the anxiolytic or anti-anxiety category. The goal of the medication is to reduce anxiety in the dog. That's typically what we're going for. There are a handful of these medications that are used for this, and I find there are 3 that are frequently prescribed by vets for this purpose. These medications are commonly available and are known and understood by veterinarians. Interestingly, all of these medications were originally made for humans and are now used successfully in dogs as well as other animals. There is a wealth of information available online about these medications and their use in dogs. If you do your own research, make sure to consult, of course, reputable sources. It's always true on the internet. I've included some links in the description below for this episode that provide resources with information on these medications if you want to do some research on your own. When dealing with dogs that have significant behavior issues like fear and aggression, medications can often be a part of the treatment plan. However, it's important to understand that behavior medications are not a cure-all. Can't say that enough. It would be great if they were, but I found with my clients that these medications might anecdotally provide about a 20% improvement with the dog's fear and aggression issues, with behavior modification providing the balance, meaning about 80%. And everybody's mileage varies on this, but if I were to average them out over thousands of clients, I would say these were pretty reliable numbers. An important thing to keep in mind is that every dog responds differently to these medications. Some dogs respond fairly well, while others have no response whatsoever, unfortunately. And in rare cases, and this is pretty rare, I've seen only a handful, it can make the dog's behavior issues and anxiety worse. And this is called a paradoxical reaction. So you always want to be aware of the side effects and be looking for that. Check with your vet on what they might be. So how can these medications really help? Essentially, they help give us more headspace to work with the dog. By that, I mean the medications can help a dog tolerate more stress during behavior modification exercises, which gives us more room to do things with the dog in the areas of desensitization and counter conditioning, as an example. It can also help the dog try new behaviors in their normal environment they may otherwise not try. This is called habituation. An example of this might be moving a little closer to an unfamiliar person in their home. So, where this dog had previously in his home kept a large distance from unfamiliar people, coming into the home, the dog is willing to maybe move into the living room with the person, although still keeping a 20-foot distance. But that's better than going and hiding back in the bedroom. This is showing that the medication is probably having an effect, especially if this is repeated over and over in the environment. These medications rarely, very rarely in my experience, remedy a dog's fear and aggression on their own, just by themselves. But they can make the dog more receptive to training and other behavior modification techniques that are being used. A common concern I hear from dog owners, and I mean all the time, just about every one of them, and it's legitimate, is they don't want to start their dog on behavior medication because it might change the dog's personality. And as I said, this is a legitimate worry, but it's important for the owner to reframe how they see it, the dog's owner. Actually, what we're aiming for is to change the dog's personality, but in a positive way. When prescribed and dosed properly by a vet, these medications primarily address the dog's anxiety and seem to have very minimal impact on the dog's personality. Medications simply help reduce your dog's anxiety, which is frequently the root cause of the problematic behaviors. When these issues are mitigated through behavior modification and medication, both, your dog can become calmer and more confident, allowing their true personality to shine through. That's the irony. As frequently, these medications let us see what the real personality is versus actually changing it. Think about that. And remember, chronic anxiety takes its toll on human beings that are chronically anxious and your dog. We need to use all reasonable and appropriate tools to help in that regard, including behavior medication if it's called for. When prescribed and dosed properly, medications don't fundamentally change who your dog is. In fact, they can improve your dog, of course. That's the idea. Rather, they can help alleviate the anxiety that is masking their true personality. Think of it like a fog lifting to reveal the sunny day. The sunny day was always there, just hidden by the fog. I want to emphasize that the use of behavior medication should always be part of a broader treatment plan that includes behavior modification, because medications are a tool, not a crutch. They are not meant to sedate your dog into submission, but make it easier for them to learn and cope with their environment. This is why collaboration with your veterinarian is crucial. Your vet can help determine the right medication and dosage for your dog and adjust as is needed. If you do elect to start your dog on behavioral medication, it's important that you monitor the dosage of these medications and stop them when and if they are no longer needed. This is a real hot button for me because I see a lot of clients come in whose dog has been on medication, behavioral medication, for years, and the owner exclaims to me that there is no apparent benefit and the behavior is not changed whatsoever. One has to ask, why would you do that? We need to make a change. This kind of medication has to be managed carefully between you and your vet. If a medication does not appear to be working, ask your vet about changing the dose, changing to a different medication, or even stopping it. Each dog is unique, and what works for one dog might not work for another on these medications, as is true with humans taking behavior medication. Your vet can help monitor your dog's progress and make necessary adjustments to these meds. It's important for your behavior specialist that you're working with to stay in touch with your vet and vice versa regarding these meds. Before any of my clients, this is just a practice that I have always had, ask their vet about behavior medication for their dog. I'm always careful to have already sent to their vet information about the behavioral issues that I'm seeing in the dog, providing them more information to make a medication decision. To wrap up, let's circle back to the primary question. Do behavior medications work for fearful and aggressive dogs? Yes, but not always. They can work and can be part of a successful treatment plan. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to try if you have a serious case. However, they are not a standalone solution. They are most effective. This is shown with a lot of animal behavioral science, by the way, when used in conjunction with a professional behavior modification expert and training. If you're considering behavior medications for your dog, consult with your vet and a professional canine behavior consultant to develop a comprehensive plan tailored to your dog's needs. Remember, the goal is to improve your dog's quality of life and help them become the best version of themselves. That's all for today's episode of the Grumpy Dogs Podcast. If you have any questions or need more information, feel free to visit my website, grumpydogspodcast.com, where you can also leave me a message and find our social media links. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any future episodes that provide tips and insights into dog behavior. Thanks for listening. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with other dog lovers. Stay tuned for our next episode where we'll continue our dive into the world of dog behavior.